So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the third quarter topics, inequalities, and we'll just be going through questions 30 through 34 in this video, 30 through 34, just the inequalities ones, okay? All right, so for question 30, we want to select all values that make the statement true. And my recommendation for a question like this is going to be to take the 1/2, that's your constant, and make it a decimal. So we've got 2y plus 0.5 is greater than or equal to the 12. Since we have a positive constant, we're going to subtract that 0.5 on both sides for it to cancel out. And we have 2y left over here. And 12 minus 0.5 would be 11.5. Now, since our coefficient is 2, we're going to divide both sides by 2 for it to cancel out. And with a calculator, you can see that 11.5 divided by 2 is 5.75. We did not divide both sides by a negative here, so we do not need to flip the symbol. And now we're going to select anything that is bigger than or equal to 5.75, and that's why we are selecting these two answers. Now for question 31, we want to solve and graph. So we're going to simply drop the line and start to solve. We have a negative constant, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides, and that's going to cancel out my constant. Negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4. Now left over on this side, I have y divided by 2, and we have less than the negative 4. And because y is being divided by 2 in the inequality, we now multiply on both sides for it to cancel out over here. Once again, we did not multiply by a negative, so I do not flip the symbol. Only if you have a negative coefficient or a negative denominator would we flip, but since we don't have negatives, I'm going to undo that, and we're going to leave our symbol alone. I'd like to remind you guys that because it's just less than, we have an open circle. If it's less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, that's when we'd shade it in. Also, because it was less than, we are shading this way on the number line. Careful with building your number line for the negatives. Back less than, it's going to be things like negative 9, 10, 11, and 12. And greater than on this side, we'd be getting closer to 0. So that takes care of 30 and 31. Now let's take a look at question 32. We have a positive constant of 4. We have 4 minus 3x is greater than 25 or equal to 25. So we're going to subtract the 4 on both sides for it to cancel out, and 25 minus 4 is 21. Now careful folks, we have this negative with our coefficient. Our coefficient's negative 3. So right here, we are dividing both sides by the coefficient of negative 3, and because of that, we need to flip the symbol. So if it started out greater than or equal to, notice in my answer it's less than or equal to, and then I just have 21 divided by negative 3 is the negative 7. So for our final answer here, we get x is less than or equal to negative 7. So because of the or equal to, it's closed, and then because of the less than, we shaded back to the left. All right, for question 33, if Jack fixes cars and charges $100 as a flat fee, he also charges $15 per hour. How many hours does Jack have to work on the car if he wants to earn at least $250? So all of this over here is how he earns money, and he wants to earn at least $250, meaning all of this is going to be more than or equal to the $250, and that's why we have this symbol. Now the letter H here represents hours, and what you can see is that it's $15 per hour plus the $100, that's how he's earning money, and we want it to be more than or equal to $250. So now we're just going to drop the line and solve. We're going to subtract the 100 on both sides and see that 15 goes into 150 10 times. So Jack needs to work at least 10 hours. At least 10 hours. If he works 10 hours or more, he'll make enough money. All right? And now for the last question in this video, Isabella has at most $60 to spend. So all of this stuff right here has to be less than or equal to the $60 that she has to spend. Now she's going to buy a pair of jeans for $28, and then she's going to spend the rest on t-shirts. So if we let T represent t-shirts here, we can see that $8 per t-shirt plus the $28 for the jeans has to be less than or equal to the $60 that she has to spend. When we drop our line and solve, we'll eventually get that T has to be less than or equal to 4. So how many t-shirts can she buy? 4 or less. And that concludes this video. 4 or less. Thank you.